tonight on Evening. Meet the person behind these bright roadside blooms on Bainbridge Island.
I just love daffodils.
Wallpaper tips from decorating expert Carrie Peterson.
Oh, this one's fun.
And the new Seattle sushi restaurant where 5 chefs work together, creating culinary masterpieces.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Jose Cedeño coming to you from the beautiful Paramount Theater, and I'm here tonight to have a closer look of a Broadway play that arrived here, Life of Pi.
Life of Pi is about a boy who survives a terrible adventure with a live Bengal tiger.
The show is about our search through spirituality, finding oneself through the main character, Pi.
Playing Pi is a labor of love. It definitely has its challenging elements in terms of its physicality, and it's such a fulfilling role, I think, for so many different reasons.
Sure, Pi is important to this story.
Is he looking at the camera?
But we can't forget about Richard Parker, the Bengal tiger.
You guys are 3 people trying to coordinate the move of one character. That had to be hard.
So we worked together as a team to bring Richard Parker, the puppet, alive and to create the character of Richard Parker. We've gone through many weeks and months of training, bringing one puppet to life, interacting with the world of Pi.
It's sort of like dancing tango with 3 people. You don't get to talk. You just have to make sound. You have to use your breath.
If you ever get stuck on a boat with a real tiger, what will you do?
Either jump out of the boat, create my own buoy lifesaver.
Run. Run.
What do you want people to know about this play?
I think this play is really special because it does bring so much of the magic of the animals to life. It almost feels like a movie or a musical, but it isn't.
Just to see the spectacle on stage talking about such a deep story, but also be entertained at the same time.
That was pretty cool. Life of Pi is running right now and it goes all the way through April the 20th. Now, every spring, a stretch of one Northwest road bursts into bloom. Here's where you can find it and the person behind it.
Every year you can find guaranteed sunshine along this stretch of road on Bainbridge Island.
Super nice welcome to spring after a long, dark, wet winter.
Starting in March, these bright yellow blooms decorate a 3-mile stretch of Highway 305. A splash of cheer, planted by a local winemaker.
I just love daffodils. I love seeing the daffodils come up in the spring. It's kind of like magic. They just kind of appear out of the ground.
Matt Albee is founder of 11 Winery on Bainbridge and the man behind the Highway Flowers. He and his winemaking crew plant hundreds of bulbs every year.
Over the years, I think we're at about 6,000.
Volunteers planting daffs on the island is a longtime tradition. Locals say it was started by Mary Sam, the granddaughter of Chief South. When Matt first moved to the island 20 years ago, he saw the word love spelled out along the highway with daffodils and fell in love with the idea of planting more.
I always thought it'd be fun to kind of bring back that joy to the highway that had been there in the past.
Now, thanks to Matt, ugly asphalt and speeding commuters get a little bit of grace once a year.
Our mission here at 11 Winery is to make great wine, make it fun, and make the world a better place. Bringing some joy to people who are driving along the highway, it feels like, a great realization of that mission for us.
The island's daffodil man is also behind the daffodils that say smile at this intersection. And it's a message that he hopes continues to grow.
And I would love to see someday on Bainbridge Island, just for you to be able to drive all the way across the island and just have daffodils the entire way would be amazing. We've been working towards that for several years, and it's really fun.
You can find those daffodils along State Route 305 in Bainbridge Island. Now, there's an easy way to add drama to your decor. Here's interior designer Carrie Peterson with some tips on how to pick your patterns.
Wallpaper is one of the most powerful design tools out there. It can completely transform your space. But with so many options, it can be very overwhelming. Today, I'm at Dixon sharing my tips for picking the perfect pattern for your home. Wallpaper isn't just decoration, it's art. It adds depth, sets the mood, and brings personality to a space. Whether you love a bold, dramatic statement or something soft with some texture, wallpaper takes any room to the next level. Oh, this one's fun. Scale is everything. Big, bold patterns are great for larger rooms, while smaller, more detailed prints are great for smaller rooms, like bathrooms. And don't be afraid to mix patterns. Just keep a common color thread to tie everything together. Wallpaper isn't just for walls. Try an accent wall to create a focal point, or even wallpaper the ceiling for an unexpected wow factor. Small spaces like powder rooms or entryways are a great place to go bold. Oh, this would be perfect for an office. Color sets the mood. Lighter colors make a room feel bigger and brighter, while darker colors make it feel cozier and more dramatic. And pattern isn't your only option. Textured wallpapers like grass cloth add subtle depth without overwhelming the room. Can you believe this is wallpaper? Not sure if you're ready to commit? Peel and stick wallpaper is a great option for renters or DIYers. But if you want that seamless, high-end look, traditional wallpaper is the way to go. Either way, great installation is everything. Wallpaper is a total game changer. It adds so much personality and depth to any space. Whether you decide to go bold or subtle, the key is finding the right color, the right scale, and the right placement. Stop by Dixon to explore all your options and start transforming your space.
Thank you, Carrie. By the way, you can find those showrooms at the Seattle Design Center. Have you noticed my shirt today? It says vote for Soundgarden. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame fan vote is back. It's where music lovers get the chance to select a nominee to be considered to the 2025 induction. And yes, you guessed it, Soundgarden is one of them. To cast your vote, go to vote.rockhall.com, and you have until April 21st.
Up next, the new Seattle sushi restaurant where every dish is a work of art. And later, a locally made birdhouse that takes you inside the life of your feathered friends.
Wow!
Local stories make a difference.
I want to check that out.
With the power to enrich lives, strengthen communities, and make us smile. Evening is made possible by Primera Blue Cross. Primera Blue Cross, always in your corner.
Welcome back to the show from the iconic Paramount Theater. Now, there's a restaurant in Seattle where a meal will cost you $185 per person. Yes, and the list to get in, it's long. We take you inside this special place.
At Shomon Kappo Sushi, a new Japanese restaurant in Seattle, there are only 2 seatings per night. And 5 Michelin-trained master chefs prepare your food. It all adds up to a one-of-a-kind culinary experience, as this team prepares and shares dishes that are also works of art.
We come together to create one of the best dining experience here.
Kappo means to cut and cook.
We are preparing the cutting, cooking, the plating, so that is a kappo.
Here, it also translates into a feast for all the senses. The chefs use smoke.
I'm smoking the bonito, the skipjack tuna.
Fire, and hand-forged Japanese knives to prepare an 8-course tasting menu of masterpieces. The fare is ever-changing, innovative.
So this is our yellowtail, seared lightly for a smoky aroma, wrapped with our pickled daikon, and around the bowl we have the yuzu gocho, which is a peppery, citrusy paste that we made into a gelatin.
This is really good. It's so fresh.
After that sashimi course comes dashi, soup with turnip, dry-aged snapper, and kaffir lime. Then more fish, king mackerel with seaweed rice and foam, made from manila clams. Then wagyu beef, sukiyaki, and endomai sushi, a traditional style that both preserves and boosts the flavor and texture of the fish.
Using technique like marinating, aging, and then also pickling to bring out the umami.
This might look scary, but dry-aged fish makes sushi extra delicious. Everything is prepared front and center and fresh.
With fresh wasabi, it's just not spicy.
And from appetizers through dessert, the 5 chefs also satisfy the curiosity of their guests.
The chef love to talk with the guests, and then so yeah, we wanna bring a good atmosphere. So we are not just bringing the food. So it's kind of like a Japanese hospitality.
At the end of this 2.5-hour meal, a Shomon tradition. All of the chefs and the servers gather to see their guests off, revealing the one ingredient that truly sets this restaurant apart.
It's a team.
Shomon Kappo Sushi is located in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood. They open for dinner every day but Mondays, and yes, you do need reservations. Are you still hungry? Well, asparagus season is happening right now, and Chef Makini Hall has a plant-based recipe that is just delicious.
Today we are going to make something really yummy. We're going to make a delicious asparagus risotto with roasted mushrooms. So I've already roasted my asparagus. I rubbed this with some olive oil and garlic, and let's put it in the blender. We're going to make asparagus stock. Let's add a little veggie stock and give it a blend. I like to feel it between my fingers and feel if I feel any little lumps or bumps. That's really smooth, and I want it very smooth. So we're done there. Let's pour it back in a bowl. I'm gonna start with some olive oil in the bottom of the pan and some shallots, a little bit of garlic. The pot is hot. You can't do this with just any old rice. You need arborio rice. It's more dense, and you don't want to cook it until it's completely soft. You want to cook it until it's al dente, because we still have a ways to go with it. We're going to add in a bit of our asparagus mixture here, as well as a little bit of stock. You want to constantly be stirring it so it doesn't stick, it doesn't brown, it's very delicate. So because you don't cook your rice all the way through, you cook it until it's al dente, what's gonna happen is it's gonna soak up the liquid as you put it in. So let's put our top on and let it steam. While that's cooking, I'm gonna prepare my mushrooms that I wanna add in. So I'm using maitakes, I've already roasted them with a little bit of olive oil and some garlic and salt and pepper. Don't use a cremini. It's a fancy enough dish to support a strong mushroom. Let's go ahead and add our mushrooms in. Parmesan cheese. Parmesan cheese is delicious. Let's add a little tofu in there too. You could use this as your main dish, which is what we're having it as today. Let's add a little extra mushroom, a little bacony tofu, and a little olive oil drizzle. So there you have it. An asparagus risotto with roasted mushrooms. A fancy way of getting your veggies.
Thank you, Chef. We're gonna have my Makini asparagus risotto recipe on our website, king5evening.com. And I do wanna say happy birthday to my godson, Anthony. I do love you, buddy.
Up next, this college mascot might not roar, but it's mighty in its own way.
Welcome back to this show. You know, college mascots come in all shapes and size, but as one local school proves, you don't have to be big to be loud.
There aren't too many college vice presidents who will take you hunting for frogs.
Aha, there's one right there.
But Peter Lortz, vice president of North Seattle College, will.
So these are both Pacific tree frogs.
Because the Pacific tree frog is his school's mascot. And right now, they're making their presence known on this campus in the middle of the city.
Yeah, so this time of year when it's a little bit warmer, you do not hear I-5. What you hear instead is this chorus of frogs, the male frogs calling for the females, and it drowns everything else out.
I hear them. Yeah, I heard them.
Ugo Alamillo teaches biology at the college. He works these frogs into the lesson plan when they start to sing in the spring.
As I recently had a student say that they thought that we had a speaker blasting the call because it's our mascot. And I was, no, that's not a speaker. That's the real frogs calling. Yeah.
This concrete campus was frog-free until
about 30 years ago, when the major wetland renovations happened and this pond appeared, we started hearing frogs more and more every year. 6 years ago, a student environmental club brought a proposal to the president's cabinet, and the president's cabinet approved, and the North Seattle College tree frog was born.
Having a tree frog as a mascot makes for some good college swag. It also ties the community to the campus, enticing neighbors to explore the wetlands when the singing starts.
I like their croaking noise. It's really loud and it sounds kind of like an engine.
This is the time of year that the males will go down to the pond and start calling for the females.
Yeah, this is a huge event of reproduction.
A whole bunch of frog love on a campus that loves frogs.
If you want to see or hear the frogs at North Seattle College, the best time to visit is early in the evening.
Up next, this Seattle man's business, it's for the birds, literally. Now in our 39th season, Evening shares local stories that make our community shine. Thanks to support from PEMCO Insurance. PEMCO empowers the Northwest to prevent the preventable. Learn how at PEMCO.com.
Welcome back to the show. Question for you. Did you ever wanted to have a peep inside the birdhouse on your backyard? Well, now you can do it.
I'm Steve, and this is The Peep Show.
Don't worry, Seattleite Steve Gray's invention is actually wholesome.
And I've started making birdhouses. I quit my career in advertising. Thought I was heading for an early retirement. The birdhouse had other plans for me.
The Peep Show is a birdhouse that lets you move in with your backyard birds, thanks to a home security camera inside. Hanging out in the nest is addictive.
And when I was testing these units, it just sounds ridiculous, but the first thing I would do in the morning is I would turn on my phone and check on my baby chicks.
Steve says this is the inspiration behind his invention, his 95-year-old dad, who lives in Fairbanks, Alaska.
In Alaska, birds and the arrival of birds in spring is a huge deal. And so we always had birdhouses, and one year, Dad wanted to see inside of a birdhouse. And I mean, he really wanted to see inside of a birdhouse. And you give an Alaskan a roll of duct tape and a glue gun and a weekend, and they can do anything.
The crude prototype his dad built is now this sleek, egg-shaped house, partially designed by an aerospace engineer, Steve's brother.
And so guess who I had do the ventilation system on The Peep Show? A true rocket scientist.
Steve took his birdhouse to the TV show Shark Tank, and the sharks rejected him, said it was for the birds. But bird lovers flocked to buy them. Now Steve's home is a mini factory.
This is what I call my incubator room here. I've got these running 24/7, and they're 3D printers.
Steve even has a peep show stationed in his neighborhood where anyone can scan the QR code and see inside.
Once you're living with these birds for 24/7 for, as they hatch, you can't help but become enamored with birds and be fascinated by them. One day they just leave the nest, and it's a sad day. I felt good knowing that I had given a very safe and secure home for these, 5, 6, or 7 little chicks, and now they're maybe flying around here today.
The Peep Show birdhouse costs $299, and of course, you can find it online. I do want to say thank you to the Paramount Theater for hosting us tonight, and I also want to remind you guys that Life of Pi runs right now all the way through April the 20th. That does it for me tonight. I will see you next time. Ciao!